All right, so we have our base, we have our waist. We started our twining on where the weaving's actually gonna go. So now we're ready to weave. So I've grabbed some red weft, which is the yarn that you're gonna weave. You may have a different kind. I'm using Harrisville Highland. So I'm going to take the end and I'm going to start off with a pigtail, but I'm going to start on the left side of the actual weaving, which is going to be this warp thread. So I'm sticking the weft end between those two of where I'm going to weave towards the back. Pull that back there. So you can see that's going out towards the back because we don't really want to see that. And then we're going to take our rest of our weft around that first warp thread of our actual weaving because we're keeping that guide out under two, and then we just continue going over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way across. But remember, don't grab that guide on the right. Okay, so now I'm ready to pull this through. So I'm holding the pigtail down, creating a bubble, and I'm just gonna pack that down. You can see on the way back, it's going to be in the open shed, and I can check that by going to the top in that open space and pulling that down and making sure that those are the warps I want to cover that are on the bottom, which they are. I'm in the open shed on the way back from right to left. So I'm not going to include that guide, remember? So we have the end coming through there on the right. I'm going to pull that through. Create the bubble, and then just pack that down. And we're going to not include the guide on the left. So I'm going to go between there. And you can see where I left off. I need to cover that first one and the third one and so on, all the odds. So I'm going to go over, under, over, under. I'm going to pinch that left side, create the bubble, and pack that down. I'm going back right to left. Remember, never include your guides on the weaving. They're just there to keep you honest on your, make sure your sides are still 2 inches across. So I'm going to bubble this, pack it down, and I can see I've gone over too many here. So I know I need to go back because they should be going over, under, over, under. So I must have missed a warp thread there. So I'm going to pull that out, and then I want to go over, under, over, under. And that can happen if you're getting tired or you're doing too many warps at once. Might be time to walk away for a minute. Alright, so now I'm going to go back. Left to right. I have to weave in the closed shed. Don't include the guides. Create a bubble, but make sure you're not pulling in on the side. You can see I'm still, we can take out our ruler again, but Mine still looks pretty, well, yep, I'm still at 2 inches, not including the guides. So then I'm going to go back and I'm in the open shed, so I can just go to the top, pull down, and then I have my shed open, so I can just pull that through, pack that down. Kind of keep an eye on where your warp threads are. If they're starting to pull apart like that, you want a smaller bubble. If they're starting to pull in, you want a larger bubble in that specific area. Mine aren't too bad, but let's just do a little bit of a bigger bubble here. So we're just giving more weft to go in between. And then here we'll give less weft so that these pull more towards each other. So by giving less weft, we're gonna just do a smaller bubble. And it won't be immediate. You'll see it after probably a few passes of where the warp threads start to correct themselves. Okay, so left to right, I'm in the closed shed, so I need to weave between all these, and I like grabbing them with my right hand and feeding them to my left hand. Remember leaving out the guides. Secure that left side down with a pinch, create a bubble. And then another way to fix you can see I'm pushing that down so there's not a bubble there, but there's one here. So that'll help space those out. All right, going back, we're in the shed. You're gonna just pull those down, go through there. I guess fairly evenly spaced. You'll see it with your weft too. You'll have like larger passes when they start pulling apart. So closed shed left to right, so I'm weaving with my hands manually. All right, let's give ourselves a little bit of a bubble where those are pulling in. All right, right to left, I'm in the open shed. You might be different. I'm just giving a point of reference. All right, left to right, closed shed. Pulling that through. Give yourself a bubble. You can see I left myself too much weft on that left side, so I'm just gonna pull that down so that I have less. Pack that down, give myself a little bit more of a bubble on that left side where they're pulling in. Right to left, I'm in the open shed, so just grab that, pull down, and then stick the weft between. All right, I have enough for about one more pass, so I'll finish it. So just weaving manually left to right in the closed shed. Pinch that down, pull it down, create a bubble, pack that down. All right, so now I'm ready to end this because I'm at the end. You could also just cut it if you're ready to end it. going to the top, pulling down to create that open shed easily. You could just manually weave it right to left as well. Create a bubble. All right, so to end this, we're going to do another pigtail. And we could end it on that right one because it doesn't really matter because this is a solid color. But because we're covering this one, I'm going to show you if we wanted to end the pigtail on the last one we're covering, we would undo this because we were covering that second warp thread. So I'm going to go under that second warp thread with the end, take the end of the tail, and then I'm going to pull it through that space I've created where I'm weaving here, and then this is what's already packed down. So the tail is going to go in between these two. And I'm just going to pull that down. That just tacks that tail to the back